It's baffling how common it is for people to live stream their most embarrassing moments on purpose. They're filming their own lowlights, their own worst ofs for the montage of shame. Things most people would want buried forever, they are proudly with a smile on their face broadcasting to their audience for content. Today, an extremely trashy stream clip has gone viral with a streamer named Elisa Jordana firing up a live stream after learning that her boyfriend has been cheating on her. I'm going to go through most of what happens in the stream, but the clip everyone's seen, which we'll get to towards the end, is at the very end of the stream. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. She gets her boyfriend in the car, and then she starts attacking him while she's driving. So she starts physically hitting him. And then she hits him very hard in the nose, like a full-blown strike to the nose, like a fucking monk's palm strike to his nose. It was quite a wallop. Like, if she was playing that boxing bag game that you see at bars where it measures your punch and it, like, grades your force up to 999, she probably would have scored, like, a 700 with that strike. So it definitely could have caused some damage. She threatens to kill him, and then she continues to escalate it. She grabs on his ear and starts pulling on it, and then he starts fighting back. So he starts fighting her. He starts yanking on her hair, telling her to stop the car, and she does stop the car. He continues yanking and pulling on her. She gets out of the car. He gets out of the car, chases her down, and then he gets back in the car and turns the stream off. Without a doubt, one of the worst live streams I can think of in recent memory. It's hard to watch. It's awful. It's crimes. Like, you're watching crimes unfold.
He lied so much to me. He lied so much to me. And he lied and he told her I'm just like a streamer and it was just an investment. And like the whole time he was talking to me, he was talking to her. The whole time.
Gadzooks, what in the fuck would possibly possess you to want to start a live stream after learning something so heavy? That makes no sense. How poisoned must your brain be to possibly come up with an idea like this? Learning that your boyfriend has been cheating on you, and then immediately turning it into a stream for content? That's incomprehensible. I don't understand why people want to broadcast every single waking moment of their lives to a bunch of strangers online, a ton of goobers who are just going to sit back tossing popcorn down their gullet because it's just entertainment to them, even though it's your life that's being ruined in real time. Why do that? Fucking Jack Bauer couldn't torture me enough to force me to go live after learning something like this. He could put all the jumper cables he wants on my nipples and scrotum. I still wouldn't do it because it's a horrible thing to want to put out there. I couldn't even imagine just firing up the stream. Hey guys, this one's going to be a little bit different than usual. Turns out she's getting piped by another man right now. They're steaming ham as we speak. Oh, thanks for the $6. Charlie's girl is slobbering on my meat. Ha ha ha.
And sending her money on Venmo.
Yeah, but why are you surprised?
I'm not surprised, Brandon. I'm not surprised. Actually, I'll go to Tanger's Outlets right here.
I just don't get why you would cry over him, dude. Like,
Oh,
you already
shit.
got money. You already supposedly got money from him.
I did, but he still was very bad, Brandon.
Yeah, so what do you think would happen if you're gonna marry him, this and that?
I'm
and
not
if his
marrying
dad
him,
lo-
Brandon. I'm obviously
Yeah,
not
bro.
marrying him.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you
She then goes for this joyride, or lack thereof joy, and it's the most distracted driving I've ever seen. No exaggeration. She doesn't even pretend to be paying attention to the road. She is glued to her phone or reading the chat, I believe, because she does get donations. She has text-to-speech enabled, so she is getting donations throughout this stream. And she is always looking at something other than the road. That is extremely dangerous, not only to herself, but all of the people on the road around her. And you can see that she busts out that crazy U-turn and gets honked at because that came out of fucking nowhere like a jump scare to all the other drivers. This is just, it's unhinged. This is, again, unacceptable. It's illegal. You can't be driving like this. I understand she's upset after finding out her partner's been unfaithful. Anyone in the world would feel the same way. But not many people in the world would handle it the way she is, by starting up a fucking live stream for people to be tuned in on with everything. Not only is she very dangerously behaving here on the road, but then she then starts just dropping all kinds of personal information publicly. Just publicly revealing a lot of things that 100% should stay private.
Why is that a no? gonna go to Tanker's Outlet actually with his card right now. All right, let's do that. Tanker's Outlet. Let's go on a shopping spree.
Hope you find your way home. 48 JSK.
Not that much money left. Should I spend this money? Sparrows for everyone?
Another lore dump for you for why she drove to the mall here. It's because she had his wallet and stated she wanted to go on a bit of a shopping spree with his cards. And then on stream, she actually opens his wallet and shows his driver's license and says, should I drop his cards in the Discord? So threatening to also just show his cards to her community. She then takes money out of his wallet and says, should I buy food for everyone? Those are all crimes. Again, you're compiling evidence against yourself. You're doing the police's job for them. You are actually showcasing criminal activity. Now, unless I miss something, she doesn't actually spend any of his money. She doesn't actually use any of his cards there. She just makes the threats that she could and would do so. She does, however, actually open his wallet, and you can see his driver's license clearly because she's bouncing it around like something out of the Disney Channel. So you can see that, but I don't think you can make out any of his other cards. But regardless, this whole thing should have never been put online. I don't know why she made the decision to start streaming this. Again, she does have text-to-speech donations enabled, so it's possible that this is all just to get some, like, money from people that are sympathizing with her because she's going through something horrible. Getting cheated on sucks. But the way she's handling it is fucking awful. She's distracted driving, dangerously putting other people's lives at risk on the road, threatening to commit some criminal actions live. And then it ends with her assaulting him, physically assaulting him live. Like, this is a horrible fucking stream.
And he thought, oh, Discord's stupid. A lot of people say that, right? So all of Scora's private information, as well Sarah's phone number, Sarah's address, her full name, her Venmo account, transactions, are all
James
the
donated $5. Ishkarel, is your Mexican girl hot?
It sounds as though Elisa has fully doxed the guy and the girl here, posting all of their private information in her Discord, which is illegal. You can't do that. I also think it's worth mentioning, since you caught a glimpse of it there, anytime that girl, Sarah, is brought up during this stream, both Elisa and the community of pay piggies that's donating to her always make sure to mention that she's Mexican. And they make statements in the chat about that as well. Throughout the stream, reading the chat, there were so many moments of genuine racism, it was fucking sickening.
FYI, February...
I called Sarah, you fucking bitch. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
February...
Sorry.
You had hit him in my presence.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk about the bad topic.
Well,
I think
I
you
can
stay out.
talk about it.
No, I said I'm gonna stop talking about it.
Okay, good. No, it's not okay.
You ever been cheated on for 2 years with
You know
a
what?
20-year-old Mexican?
I'm
I doubt
not
it.
getting into
Yeah.
my business.
Okay,
but you're
I'm
not
just
the
telling you
only
that's my
one.
business.
But
I
you're
really
not
don't
the
want to talk
only
to you.
This happened shortly before the viral clip from this stream where she starts hitting him in the car. So prior to them getting in the vehicle, she pushed him outside, and it was actually observed by someone who confronted her about it, because in this instance, her violent outburst was in broad daylight in view of public and bystanders. So someone came up to her, I believe it was an officer, and talked to her about it, and even during this talk, Elisa still finds a way to mention that the other girl is Mexican.
Hello? Hi, Sarah. How are you? How are you, Sarah? Hi. Thanks so much for calling. I'm just gonna send you like 6 months of texts of your nudes and, you know, different sentences that he...
Sarah, I'm sorry about this.
Don't talk. Don't fucking talk.
Idiot.
Yes, Sarah, we're really sorry about this. I'm sending him your way today.
Fucking...
Yeah. No, so Bahram, how do you pronounce it? Do you know? I don't know.
Shut the fuck up, cunt.
Yeah, what's up?
She's half your age. She's half your age.
Delete the number, please.
I cut out the ending here because it's a lot. Like, even this much, I don't even know if YouTube will allow me to show. I'm really not sure. It's legitimate assault. So she hits him a couple of times, the nose hit by far being the biggest blow. And then after where I cut it off, he grabs her hair and starts yanking and pulling on her, and she starts talking about how he's killing her, and the car stops, and then eventually she gets out of the car, he chases her down. I think she gets in another vehicle in the background, and then he comes back into the car and turns the stream off. It's a horrifying thing to watch, to be honest. As of right now, Elisa has been arrested, her mugshot and booking information is all out there for this incident. There's no update on the guy or what's going on with that part of all of this, but what a fucking awful live stream. Now on Twitter there's been a lot of debate about this video on whether or not the man's actions were justified in this situation, and most people are saying that they were, claiming that he was acting in self-defense. And it seems like the law would agree with them on that take, because from everything I can find, he hasn't been booked or charged with anything. Now, I think it's important we remember that the guy in this video is no saint. He cheated on his significant other. That is the behavior of a piece of shit. But under no circumstances does anyone deserve to be beaten like this. He's not a good guy, but he is still the victim of an assault. And I think all of the video evidence suggests that this was a case of self-defense. He didn't lash out at her or strike at her until she went in again for like the third or fourth time, assaulting him. And then he did fight back. Now, I do think there is a case to be made that he may have taken it too far, because he does yank and pull on her for quite some time, even once the car comes to a complete stop. So I think he probably could have gotten out of the car at that point and just left the situation entirely, but I also don't know the entire situation on where it was stopped, if it may have been dangerous to do so, I don't know. But overall, I do agree that this does seem to be him defending himself, like, from getting attacked in this vehicle. Overall, this was a fucking awful live stream. And I really don't think this is going to be the last of its kind that we see, because it feels like it's getting more and more common with people wanting to live stream every moment of their lives, even the worst parts of it. So there'll probably be more things like this in the future, which sucks. I think it's just an awful direction, but just wanted to talk about this. That's about it. See ya. Yesterday, Gordon Ramsay jump-scared everyone by revealing he'd been in a serious accident and said that the helmet he was wearing actually saved his life. And he also thanked the doctors and everyone that took care of him in the hospital from it. And basically it's a message kind of urging everyone to wear a helmet when cycling.
Hi guys, it's Gordon. I'd like to share a very important message with you all. You know how much I love cycling and triathlons and Ironman, etc. This week, unfortunately, I had a really bad accident, and it really shook me. And honestly, I'm lucky to be here.
He really does seem shaken up by this whole experience here. When I think of Gordon Ramsay, I immediately think of him calling someone an idiot sandwich and yelling and screaming. So if I had heard that Gordon Ramsay got into a bike accident, I would immediately assume that he got off the bike, started shaking his fist at it and calling it a fucking donkey or something and spitting on the bike. But then he'd walk away unscathed, unfazed, and throw a grilled cheese in the fireplace and just take a big old bite out of it. But in this case, that's just not what happened. Whatever the accident was, it really has taken some kind of toll on Gordon, and he's trying to educate people on the importance of helmets and how it actually saved his life. Now, this is a lesson that people have heard a million times in their life. I'm pretty sure this has been taught more than the multiplication tables in elementary school. Everyone knows you should wear a helmet when cycling. But in current day and age, a lot of people just don't give a fuck about that anymore. They just kind of wipe their ass with safety for the sake of, like, convenience, maybe. But in my area in particular, there's a ton of cyclists. They swarm, and I almost never see any of them wearing helmets, which I always find odd, because what's the point in playing life on Ultra Nightmare mode? It takes like 5 additional seconds to just throw on a helmet real quick, and it could be a game changer. To me, the risk versus reward ratio here is all cattywampus. It's not computing up here. I don't see why you wouldn't just wear a helmet to be safe. It's not like you get some kind of, like, additional benefit out of not wearing one. So I don't really understand it, but I'm not your fucking dad. If you want to go out there without a helmet on and I see you on the sidewalk, I'm not going to slam on my brake and drift my car in sideways, so I'll get out and start, you know, giving you a spanking and telling you that you're being naughty for not wearing a helmet. That's fucking your choice to make, I suppose. I think it's a silly one, though, and I really appreciate that Gordon Ramsay's coming forward and using his platform to just try and educate people again on how important a helmet is and how it can actually save your life.
Now, from those incredible trauma surgeons, doctors, nurses in the hospital that looked after me this week, they were amazing. But honestly, you've got to wear a helmet. I don't care how short the journey is. I don't care, you know, the fact that these helmets cost money, but they're crucial. Even with the kids, a short journey, they've got to wear a helmet. Now, I'm lucky to be standing here. I'm in pain. It's been a brutal week, and I'm sort of getting through it. But I cannot tell you the importance of wearing a helmet.
That is a gnarly bruise right there. Calling that a bruise is doing it a disservice. When I bang my knee on this desk when I get excited, I'll sometimes bruise. That is like you got hit by 5 sledgehammers. That looks like the damage you would suffer if One Punch Man accidentally flicked you in the oblique. That is a crazy amount of bruising. I don't know how he's standing.
This weekend is massive. It's Father's Day for new fathers, old fathers, middle-aged fathers. I want to wish you all a very happy Father's Day. But please, 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 please wear a helmet, because if I didn't, honestly, I wouldn't be here now. Happy Father's Day.
An unexpected video from Gordon Ramsay, but an appreciated one. Like, he's just sharing his first-hand experience here with something traumatic that he went through and how he believes his life was saved thanks to that helmet, and of course the doctors and everyone at the hospital that treated him, and just trying to spread that message. And I think that is nothing but 2 big thumbs up for me there. But Twitter is a different story. Twitter ghouls have this impressive ability, almost like an X-Men level mutation here, it's almost a superpower, to find the stupidest spins on even the most cut and dry situations. Something as simple as, hey, wearing a helmet's good to keep you safe. Maybe you might want to think about doing that. They find a way to turn it into something bad. One intellectual powerhouse replied to Gordon's video saying, "Complete shite, Gordon." And then he dropped this fat little nugget of wisdom here, which is a graph that shows death per billions of kilometers cycled versus the helmet wearing rate percentage of these regions. Imagine being the loveless loser who comes in here going ballistic because a guy who almost lost his life is talking about how a helmet might have saved it. Now, this individual isn't the only one fighting back against Big Helmet here, but he is by far the most adamant. He is tooth and nail in the trenches, still replying as of me making this video like 18 hours later, it seems. So he is definitely their fiercest warrior opposed to helmets. Now, he makes arguments that helmets do nothing to mitigate serious injury. They only help with like scrapes and bruises maybe, but doesn't actually do anything to contribute to cycling safety, and calls them an unnecessary distraction, and then says the big issue that needs to be addressed is fixing infrastructure and driver policing. Now, let's say Gordon Ramsay subscribed to this guy's belief system. He'd be dead. If he viewed helmets as an unnecessary distraction, Gordon Ramsay would be 6 feet under right now, fucking making risottos up in heaven. So, legitimately, he is just wrong about them being an unnecessary distraction. In the situation Gordon Ramsay is describing, without that helmet, he wouldn't have survived. I also just don't understand what it's a distraction from. Is it distracting you from sending your 4,000th tweet in the last 24 hours? Like, how is it an unnecessary distraction? It takes fucking 5 seconds to put a helmet on, and it does help keep you a bit safer. Of course, it doesn't solve every problem magically. Nobody is saying it does. He's fighting a ghost here in the comments. He keeps thinking that everyone's saying that a helmet solves all the biking-related issues with, like, cyclists dying, whatever. Like, that's not what anyone's saying. All they're saying is it does just help your odds, and in this case, it actually did save Gordon Ramsay's life. There's just no reason not to wear a helmet. The main thing he wants is better infrastructure for cyclists, which I do completely agree with, especially in the United States in particular. Having better infrastructure for that is absolutely the safest possible thing for cyclists. He dropped this here talking about how the solution is the infrastructure and that the helmet is an easy out by promoting it. And no one's arguing that a helmet is going to, make sure that cyclists are immortal or anything. But it's just like the easiest thing you can do to immediately improve your odds of surviving something traumatic like Gordon Ramsay experienced here. The beautiful thing about having so many neurons in your brain is that you can actually focus on multiple different things at the same time. You can be saying we need better infrastructure to keep cyclists safe, while also saying, hey, cyclists, helmets do actually help you in the event of an accident. It improves your odds a little bit. You can do both things. Again, a helmet is not this end-all be-all of safety, this panacea that cures any possible problem with, like, cycling safety. But it is something that undeniably helps. Another thing this cringe vulture and a few others like him do in the comment section is latch on to this idea that we don't wear helmets while driving, which makes everyone a hypocrite because driving causes a lot of head injuries. Basically just keeps reiterating, why aren't you wearing a helmet while driving a car? You absolute goober, when you drive a car, most people wear a seatbelt to improve their odds of surviving a crash. The car is also equipped with safety equipment such as airbags to help keep you alive in the event of a crash. On a bike, what do you have? Did you put an ejector seat on your bike to immediately get out of a tricky situation? You put a baseball card in the spokes of your bike and then installed some fucking airbags down there too to keep you alive? No. The only thing that you can really do here on a bike in this context is wear a helmet. That would be the equivalent of wearing a seatbelt while driving. You're making dog shit arguments for an indefensible position. Don't wear helmets. You're a fucking lunatic. It sounds like you've already hit your head and you want more people to join you there. He even has the gall to say this. The reasons not to wear a helmet is that you take more risky decisions when wearing a helmet and drivers take more risky decisions around you. He's almost saying that it's more dangerous to wear a helmet than it is not to and just raw dog it, which is just ridiculous. It's so silly, I don't even know where to start. So he thinks that cyclists who are wearing a helmet make more risky decisions because they're wearing a helmet. I don't think so. I don't feel like when people put on a helmet, they think that all of a sudden they become Superman. I just don't see that being the case. Just like someone who puts on a seatbelt doesn't immediately think they can fucking ramp off of a parked tow truck like it's GTA 5 and be unscathed. I don't think that's the case for cyclists wearing a helmet. And I really don't think that drivers are going to start treating you different if you're wearing a helmet versus not. Like, I don't think drivers are going to see you wearing a helmet and be like, oh, this guy can take a little bump here and just fucking swerve into him or anything. If you're wearing a helmet, I don't think drivers are going to start making riskier decisions because they think you're in, like, fucking body armor or anything, versus if you weren't wearing a helmet. I just don't see that being the case in reality at all. He also goes on to say helmets are no use in collisions involving motor vehicles, which fucking obviously. No one's saying that you're going to be able to take a car head-on in a game of chicken just because you're wearing a helmet on your bike. It's a stupid argument to make. Oh, well, if my bicycle helmet can't stop a bullet, what the fuck is the point in wearing it, I suppose? I'll just go without. Useless to me now. It's silly. It's super dumb. There's no real good argument you will ever be able to make that wearing a helmet is a bad thing. And Gordon Ramsay's video and message here is just an overwhelmingly positive one, and I'm happy to hear that he's recovering and he's okay. And I'm wishing him the best going forward. And I appreciate that he's sharing this message, because clearly it is one that is still somewhat needed here, because there are people out there that don't think helmets are worth wearing, I suppose. So it's not like a useless message either. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I got a bit heated here, clearly, about this anti-helmet rhetoric, which I think is just so fucking dumb that I was baffled. So I dove deep into this rabbit hole here, and I just had to talk about it a little bit. Again, glad Gordon Ramsay's alright. That's about it. So yeah. I'll look that up. Someone mentioned it earlier. Apparently the creator of Mighty Magiswords on Cartoon Network got busted for child porn. I don't know that series. Mighty Magiswords? I've never seen this or even heard of it. Came out in 2015, ended in 2019. Kyle Carrozza, arrested on CP possession charges. What is this last statement? I'm a little confused. The crimes he is accused of do not apply to drawings, figurines, statues, or films rated by the Motion Picture Association. Well, no shit, I don't think the Motion Pictures Association is rating child porn. Like, wait, what does this mean? Am I stupid? Why can't I parse what that means? Oh my god. I totally forgot because I switched from... I am so sorry. Because I switched the source from display to window, it doesn't follow when I do a new window. That is entirely my bad. Sorry, sports fans. Here, jump scare, Kyle Carrozza. Sorry, my bad. I just sat here fucking reading this like a stupid goober. Mighty Magiswords was Kyle Carrozza's show, but had worked as a board... I'm just going to have to reread all of it, I guess, now. But had worked as a board artist on a lot of big shows here. What I was saying, though, now that we're all here together, this last line is very confusing. So it's talking about how it can be charged as a misdemeanor, felony, punishable up to 1 year in county jail or 5 in state prison. If found guilty of either charge, Carrozza will be ordered to register as a sex offender. The crimes he is accused of do not apply to drawings, figurines, statues, or films rated by the Motion Picture Association. So what I was saying is I don't really understand what that means, because obviously the Motion Picture Association is not rating child porn. Like, there's not going to be a Rotten Tomatoes for it from them. What am I not understanding about that? I'm pretty sure it just means this wasn't like lolly hentai. It was actual legit CP. Okay. I feel like there was a better way to say that. I feel like there had to be a better way of getting that point across. He worked on 124 episodes of Adventure Time as a board artist. They mainly talked about his credits with like Fairly Odd Parents, Casa Grande, Animaniacs, Snoopy, Doc McStuffins, whatever the fuck that is, Fishhook. Looks like Cartoon Network can't clown on Nickelodeon for having predators anymore. Cartoon Network can't clown on anyone, they're closed. What do you mean? Wait, was Cartoon Network actively doing that, like in their marketing material? Yeah, Nickelodeon's got SpongeBob, and also some predators, not like Cartoon Network. Were they taking shots somewhere? Where was that? Oh, apparently they're not actually getting shut down. Wait a minute, wait a minute. That was still just an unsubstantiated rumor, apparently. They are still going to continue with original programming. It's just that they had huge layoffs. What's your stance on separating art from artist? I've said this 100 times now. I used to firmly believe that you can separate art from the artist until Ian Watkins, lead singer of the Lost Prophets. They were once my favorite band. I even had them as my website background music that would play when you visited my Pixo site called coldflames.pixo. I was a huge Lost Prophets fan. Ian Watkins turned out to be a massive pedophile, an actual baby raper, and once all of his crimes made it to the public eye, I could no longer listen to that music. It was impossible. Especially because one of the songs that Ian Watkins made with Lost Prophets was literally him subtly bragging about being a pedophile in the music. When you look back on it, knowing what he was doing. So, I used to believe you can separate art from artist. I don't think you can do that, or I don't believe that that's possible in certain circumstances. So like if I was a Mighty Magiswords fan, I probably couldn't watch it anymore because of this. Would you watch a Kevin Spacey movie? Yeah, I don't think I could do it for Kevin Spacey either. But the difference about Kevin Spacey is he's a part of a movie, whereas Lost Prophets, again, for example, he is the music. He wrote the lyrics, helped compose the music. Whereas Kevin Spacey, he's just like a small component of an overall bigger product. You know what I mean? So maybe I could do it for Spacey. But I haven't seen a Kevin Spacey movie since the allegations. But for this show, couldn't you make the argument this guy's cartoon had multiple writers? Yeah, but this is still his vision. This is still like his voice. Like I can watch Adventure Time. If he was a board artist for Adventure Time, I can still watch Adventure Time and not feel like weird about it. Like I don't think that's going to ruin Adventure Time for me or anything. But if I was a fan of this show, I don't think so. Yeah, it's actually crazy how Kyle Carrozza actually looks like that quintessential like Predator image. I actually thought this was a joke. Hold on, it still might be. I don't know cartoonbrew.com. This still might not actually be what he looks like. Let me see. Because it looks too much like the stereotypical Predator. Let me see. Nope, that is just straight up what he looks like, huh? Yep. Yep. Oh, yikes. That looks like if you typed in, like, Predator into Chat GPT and, like, made sure to take out the movies from it, like the Predator movies, and just said, like, Child Predator or something, this would be the image it spits out. Are you able to separate art from artist with Rurouni Kenshin? No, Rurouni Kenshin is ruined for me. Yeah, I can never watch or read Rurouni Kenshin. What's even... Oh, wow, two people just asked that at the same time. What's even more deplorable about Rurouni Kenshin is that the wider anime community, like the manga... Wow. Like the manga community, forgave him for it. And overall, got off with a very slight slap on the wrist. So no, I absolutely cannot read, watch, or appreciate Rurouni Kenshin at all anymore. And I used to love that show growing up. They used to come on right before Yu Yu Hakusho, I think it was. And it was fire. Used to love it. Batosai the Manslayer. Oh, it's such a shame. What happened with Rurouni Kenshin? Author's a huge pedophile. Got busted, ton of CP, but wasn't really punished for it, and a lot of manga greats actually wrote letters of endorsement, like character pieces, forgiving him and saying why it's not like a big deal. It was lunacy. This man reminds me of the fat guy from Austin Powers. Fat bastard? How? When was the last time you watched Austin Powers? What? No, man. Not really. He literally looks like if you AI generated a pedophile. I don't know where you're getting the fat bastard comparison. I even pulled him up just to double check. This is not close. This is just not close here. The only thing in common is maybe the double chin. Maybe. And the mutton chops. These aren't mutton chops. Hey, wait a minute. This is, like, neck beard chops. Mutton chops, even on Fat Bastard, they stop at where the jaw is supposed to be. This weirdo fucking let it ride down to, like, his collarbone. He looks like that rat guy from Harry Potter. Put some fucking respect on that guy's name. Peter Pettigrew. And he kind of does, actually. I think that's a much better comparison. Here. I'll pull up Peter Pettigrew for you. Now, he's missing the chops, but I really do think you put glasses on Peter Pettigrew and now we're talking. I briefly mentioned the situation with Unity a few days ago, just as a tiny little blurb, basically a cameo appearance in a Marvel movie. I just kind of went over like the very basics of everything going wrong with Unity. But things have only gotten worse since then, so I just want to make a whole video here going over the entire situation and kind of dancing on Unity's grave, because they did it to themselves. Now, of course, they're not actually dead yet, but they are doing everything in their power to put themselves in the dirt. They are bent on self-destruction and nothing will stop them. It's like a scene out of 24, with Jack Bauer interrogating a terrorist and they're doing everything they can to take the cyanide pill to end it all. That's Unity as a business right now. So a channel called Upper Echelon just released an incredible video going over all of the new information about this situation, so I'm going to show you some clips of that, as well as just give you the broader stuff as well, just in case you're unfamiliar with all of it. This is going to be an all-encompassing biblical smackdown of everything Unity related.
Unity Technologies, a video game software company responsible for making the Unity game engine, has recently adjusted their fee structure. On top of a flat subscription service, they will now charge game developers per install, with retroactive terms of service changes, and that monetization scheme will have a severe negative impact on a great deal of projects.
In a nutshell, that's where all of this disaster stems from. He has just given you the macaroni, so allow me to give you the cheese. Unity made a big announcement about a change to their monetization model where if you reach a certain level of success with their product, they will then start dipping their greedy, grubby little paws into your pockets and take a little piece for themselves out. So, if you're using Unity Personal and Unity Plus, you're eligible for this fee once you reach 200k in revenue over the last 12 months and have 200k lifetime installs, and that number increases to 1 million in 12 months and 1 million installs when you're using Pro or Enterprise. So basically, they will start taking money, and it's dictated how much at each level, per install of a game once it reaches this threshold. Now, there is no faith in this company left, like there's nothing but bad will, so no one really has any faith that they have any means of detecting fraudulent downloads. A lot of people were very quick to point out that you could absolutely fuck someone in the face by just constantly reinstalling these games on like virtual machines or pirated copies, but Unity's like, no, we've solved everything. Actually, piracy is extinct now. We'll know if that's happening. But no one believes them because it's very hard to take them at their word when they have no good faith left. So, there is potential for this to be exploited in a big way where you could cost companies or individuals tons and tons and tons of money just by gamifying this fee. And it's not like Unity really has an incentive to stop that because they're making the money off of that fee. That's money going into their piggy bank. So, heavens to Betsy, sports fans, you tell me, why the fuck would they patch out this infinite money exploit when they're the ones that benefit from it? But anyway, this is the big bang that created the universe of problems for Unity here and started all of the hoopla with this entire catastrophe. The best way I've seen it described is, imagine if Adobe started to put up a big stink about YouTubers using their product. Like, imagine Adobe comes out and says, you know what, we've arbitrarily decided that YouTubers that reach a certain threshold of views are going to be subject to a fee because they use Adobe Premiere to edit. So, Mr. Beast, for example. Mr. Beast will now start paying X amount of dollars per view because he edited his content with Adobe. It should be pretty clear why that is an extremely scummy and ridiculous idea. And that's fundamentally what Unity's doing here. People paid for the tools. They made their own games with those tools. Now I'm getting lost in my own fucking genjutsu here, the fantasy I've crafted. Unity should not be entitled for a fee per install on the games that people make if they're successful. It's literally suffering from success.
We already know about John Riccitiello, however you say that, the CEO. He sold a bit of his stock right before this all happened. He was the former CEO at EA Games.
John Riccitiello, more like John Sissy-Tiello, because he's a little bitch. Man, what a humdinger. If Unity wasn't dead before this video, they're definitely dead after this one, because that was an absolute heater. So anyway, their CEO is John Riccitiello, however you say it, I also don't know. Upper Echelon is about to get into the meat of the new discoveries, but I want to continue laying the foundation for all of the prerequisite knowledge that you should have coming into the new stuff. So, their CEO is a very important component to this entire controversy. He is a former EA employee, former EA CEO, who was too greedy for EA. Let that sink in for a moment, marinate on those juices, let that percolate in your noodles for a moment. Someone was too greedy for EA, and it's this cartoon villain here. This goofball is the mayor of Doofustown. I don't know how this clown keeps landing prestigious positions. In 2011, during a stockholder meeting, he said, when you're 6 hours into playing Battlefield and you run out of ammo in your clip and we ask you for $1 to reload, you're really not that price sensitive at that point in time. So he's using this as a gold standard example of successful monetization, where you're deep into Battlefield, you're in the middle of doing something, and then bang, we flash a jump scare on screen that says you need to give us $1 if you want to reload right now. And he believes most players would relent and just give them the $1 because they are actively doing something and now have to pay in order to keep doing it. It's beyond evil. It is remarkably greedy. He also fell into some hot water last year where he called developers fucking idiots if they didn't focus on monetization. This dusty, crusty, abominable zombie only treats the games industry as a means to put the squeeze on consumers and hose them for every single dollar they have to their name. It's not surprising to see the direction Unity's going with this goofball at the helm. But what is surprising is the fact that John Riccitiello keeps landing powerful positions in the industry. He is not good at his job. His ideas are atrocious. He is a money repellent. EA couldn't even act on his advice because it was so over-the-top Looney Tunes level evil greed. He does not succeed as a leader. All he does is lead companies to fucking ruin, like reputational ruin, with what he's doing with Unity now. He just sinks the ship with terrible business ideas. I don't know how he even got the Unity CEO role. So now that's the basic lore rundown on the history of John, the money's gone, Riccitiello. Now, as Upper Echelon briefly mentioned there, this guy also sold a pretty substantial amount of Unity stock right before this announcement came out. Which, you know, hey, I'm not the feds here, I'm not the authorities, but to me, in my little caveman brain, that sounds a little bit like insider trading. There's no way this guy is dumb enough to have not realized the backlash that would ensue from this. And he happened to dump quite a bit of stock right before making the announcement. That's a little peculiar, don't you think? But anyway, you know, maybe just complete coincidence, perhaps.
But who's this guy? Tomar Barziv. Credit where credit is due. Tugging on this thread is the result of a post on r/Unity from a user named Zijit. I'll link to that down below. Tomar Barziv is on the board of directors at Unity, but he is also the CEO of a company called IronSource.
IronSource is a company that merged with Unity to the tune of $4.4 billion. IronSource is a business that fundamentally focuses on monetizing developers' apps. And this merger was actually pretty controversial because a lot of users had reported some shady things with the IronSource platform and alleged that there was malware, there was adware bundled with certain things, just a lot of claims that were pretty alarming. Eventually, IronSource coped by saying, like, hey, it was just some bad actors who, you know, abused the platform. And so this merger already was pretty sour in terms of its reception due to all of these past experiences that users were alleging.
But it turns out that when you go down the list of Unity insiders who are selling stock in the company, this guy is by far the most aggressive. Over the past year alone, according to Fintel, it appears that Tomar Bar-Zeev has sold upwards of $20 million in Unity stock, which is interesting to say the very least.
20 million clams, huh? That is very interesting, I'd say. Now, of course, this isn't like the most unheard of thing ever with, insiders selling stock, right? But the volume that he's selling, especially in comparison to the others, the frequency, and just his position within the company all makes this a very interesting case of selling 20 million doubloons worth of your Unity stock here.
First, at the same time as this $4.4 billion deal, or merger, was taking place, a company called AppLovin made a competing offer to buy out Unity completely for $20 billion. But Unity rejected this deal, citing that the deal, quote, would not reasonably be expected to result in a superior proposal.
Upper Echelon goes on to say that he finds it odd that they rejected that, considering the $20 billion offer is pretty significantly above the market cap at the time. But he did say that with the AppLovin deal, Unity would have been dropped to 49%, so there is complications to it. But this is an important piece of the puzzle here with everything going on, because Upper Echelon expands a bit further into the merger with ironSource, which was significantly less than they would have got than if they went with AppLovin. So there is a bit of a head scratcher to it, but Upper Echelon is diving deep in here and picking out all the breadcrumbs and getting to the truth.
During the deal with ironSource, two investment companies, Sequoia Capital and Silver Lake, pledged to come on board with $1 billion invested in the deal itself. Two more people, one from each of those companies, joined Unity's board of directors: Egon Durbin and Rolaf Botha, these nuts. Starting with Egon Durbin, he is a founding principal and managing director at Silver Lake, which it now appears, I shit you not, has sold the entirety of their directly held remaining stock in Unity Technologies, disclosed as of yesterday.
Casually sliding in that D's nuts moment was spectacular, really appreciated. So, important takeaways here is after the ironSource merger with Unity, two new people get added to the board, and they're both some pretty shady individuals as well. One of them, Egon, actually dumps all of his held Unity stock, which was disclosed yesterday, apparently. And it's at this point Upper Echelon drags us kicking and screaming into the light. We're able to take a look at this septic tank for what it really is, full of shit. So these two new characters come on board, and Upper Echelon examined their connections. And Egon, in particular, had a notable past where he was pretty tight with Tesla, especially during that whole boogeyman moment where Tesla might go private, that whole thing that floated around a few years ago. And overall, both of these two new members of the board at Unity both seem very enthusiastic about this modern tech trend to charge out the wazoo for API access. Twitter made a change to their pricing model for API access not too long ago. Reddit most recently made a change to their pricing model for API access, which was actually the catalyst for the Reddit blackout that many of you might remember. God rest the souls of all the accounts that went offline for 48 hours. Basically, the new tech trend is these massive corporations charging a lot of money for API access, and Upper Echelon draws this parallel with the way Unity's pricing model reflects the API pricing models for Twitter and Reddit. And given the connections of the two new members that joined the board, Botha and Durbin, it isn't far-fetched to assume that this is the direction Unity wants to go, to follow in line with those models, which is bad. That is bad for everybody in the communities. The API changes on Twitter and Reddit were wildly detrimental to a lot of different things, and the Unity changes are also extremely detrimental to a lot of different things. It is a bad thing, but it actually gets worse.
Here's a much better visualization of what's actually happening from a user named Sososki on Twitter. The yellow indicates the portion of developers who will now lose between 10 and 25% of their revenue with Unity's new terms of service. The orange, they stand to lose between 25 and 50% of their revenue. Red can lose between 50 and 100%, and that scary black line off to the left, not huge, but it is there. That's the area where these new terms will bankrupt your company because Unity decided to charge you more money per install than your app is even making.
There's no way Unity didn't do math. There's no way this Twitter user put more work into analyzing this than the company did making this decision. This is something that under no circumstances should have ever flown, period. Because there's no world where you as the company should bankrupt the people using your product because they're succeeding when using your product. It's nonsensical. Now, I realize I didn't answer this in the beginning, but there is a lot of confusion. They are changing the policy, but it doesn't mean that the companies that use Unity for their games are retroactively responsible to pay for the installs that people have already done prior to this new agreement. It's going forward. So yes, the rules change, but it doesn't enforce retroactively for payment. Though a lot of terms are changing, and there is a lot of scumminess there, of course, which has led to a pretty deep and interesting discussion around if Unity's even able to do this legally. And I'm not an expert, so of course take this with a grain of salt, but from what I've researched and from what I've read, it is legal to change the license the way they have and then still hold previous products to the same standards of the new license, even though when they made the game that license wasn't the same. It's legal to do that. It's just a morally fucked up thing to do and then enforce it that way retroactively. So there is a lot of nuance to this, and then the whole thing is just a messy fucking disaster. Truly, top to bottom. But I don't think it's illegal per se. But who knows? Maybe it is. I've seen discussions about a potential class action lawsuit from some developers, so I guess we'll see. But the big point here with this graph is that under this new monetization policy, developers can straight up go bankrupt just because their game is succeeding, because this fee is taking more money from the developers than the game they made is making them. So they're literally losing money with more installs. It's tragic. Like, it's unbelievable. And it's not like Unity wouldn't know that. Unity has this data. Again, there is no way a Twitter user did more research and more analysis than the company themselves. Unity has to know this. They just don't care. They don't give a fuck about it.
Focusing on the casual mobile market, we see this right here. Unity is offering a runtime fee waiver if you switch to Level Play, as it tries to kill AppLovin. Level Play is a service from ironSource. That decision emulates a pattern that began with Twitter, was mirrored by Reddit, and is now making its way through the broader markets. The decision itself appears to be aimed at killing a competing service after Unity actually rejected a buyout offer from that service's owner in favor of a merger with ironSource, who stands to gain the most from this entire controversy.
I went a little out of order here, but I wanted to save this point for last. So apparently Unity is offering a fee waiver if you switch to the ironSource service, the Level Play service. So the conclusion here, the overall conclusion that Upper Echelon draws from all of this information presented, is that Unity is going down the modern tech trend model of the API charges that Twitter and Reddit use and implementing something very similar when it comes to game development in their products. And it seems like a lot of this is aimed at killing a competitor that actually offered to buy them out, AppLovin. AppLovin is a service that does directly compete with what ironSource is offering here, Level Play. So it does seem like all of this is trying to follow that trend and also trying to destroy that competitor. Now, I highly encourage all of you to go finish Upper Echelon's video because he gets into a lot more of the nitty-gritty here, as well as how developers are combating this currently and what they can do going forward in order to fight back against this kind of unhinged greed. But there's still so many pieces left on the chessboard that Upper Echelon does go through. So I'm going to put a link to his video in the description of this one. I highly encourage you to go check out the rest of it if you want to see even more about it, as well as how deep the rabbit hole goes, because again, there's still a lot more to this, and Upper Echelon does a great job at shedding light on all of it. So yeah, I think it should be pretty clear why so many gamers and pretty much everyone is upset about these Unity changes. This tech trend is not something that people should be celebrating, not that anybody is, but it really is a horrible trend with all of the API pricing changes and now Unity trying to integrate that model into gaming. All of this is a much worse thing for consumers, the average person, in this case, gamers and game developers. It is a bad scenario all around. So this situation is one that I really don't think Unity should ever recover from. The company deserves to fail for this, 100%. This is an impressive level of delusional greed that should absolutely sink this company. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over all of this. That's really about it. So yeah. Not too long ago I made a video on everyone's least favorite internet creator, Onision, talking about the fucked up shit he does and what makes him just so pitiful. Not that that's brave or anything, because that's his entire pathetic existence now. He just exists to be made fun of, just an internet punching bag. He's like a fucking blobfish, just cursed to be a loser and be pointed and laughed at. And he constantly just fuels that fire so that way people will make fun of him, so that way he gets views on his videos. So he posts those goofy freak out videos where he's like waving his arms in the air, shit like that, so that way people make fun of him for a dumb freak out. He goes on Twitter and says, I'm gonna use all 3 inches of my penis in your tight ass or some garbage. He's like a Mr. Meeseeks of YouTube. He's only here to get made fun of, and when people finally get tired of making fun of him, he just fucking disappears. That's all he has. It's such a worthless fucking existence online. But anyway, I swore with my cock on a stack of Bibles I wouldn't make another video about Onision. I wouldn't even mention his name. It'd be like Voldemort to me. But now I can't help myself. I have to talk about it because a champion has been summoned. Chris fucking Hansen has entered the Smash Bros. Arena and is now hunting Onision. There's no name more feared by predators than Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen is to predators what the Antichrist is to everyone else. He signals the end. Fear, terror, confusion, and a lot of times jail time. Chris Hansen is no lightweight, and now Onision's in his crosshairs.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, there's a person who's been stalking me online and they just showed up to my house.
Okay, and they're outside now?
They have a bunch of camera people, like they're YouTube stalkers. I didn't see any weapons. I just saw like 6 guys in my driveway, and one of them is knocking on my door.
Okay, and do we know his name at all?
It's Chris Hansen.
Greg is about as brave in person as you'd expect. The thing about dealing with a predator is you know exactly what a predator is going to do.
I love that little line right there, that little humdinger from Chris Hansen. Greg is about as brave in person as you'd expect. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in the world that thought for even a moment Greg was anything more than a gaping, seeping, oozing pussy. But I like that Chris Hansen just buckles down and says what we're all thinking. He's a fucking pussy, without saying those words, but it's what he's implying, obviously, and he's absolutely right. Greg didn't even have the balls to just talk to Chris Hansen at his door. I'm actually surprised the 911 operator didn't hang up the second he said it's Chris Hansen, or send the squad cars out there to help Chris Hansen. So, in a nutshell, Chris Hansen has been digging through all of Onision's past, all of everything that's been presented for all the evidence, and then he wanted to go get Greg's side of it, so he went to Greg's house, and Greg immediately called the police. The police were making fun of Onision in his own fucking driveway, and some of the officers were fans of Chris, which is just icing on the little shit cake that Greg created. It's just a beautiful little disaster, a nice little development in the Onision manga arc anime Fall from Grace. It's incredible. I can't wait to see where it develops next. Chris Hansen has positioned himself as the hero of this anime, Greg the antagonist, the big bad evil villain, and I can't wait to see Chris's next move in this series here. I don't want to talk about Onision, but this shit right here had me smiling from ear to ear, just to watch Greg not even pretend to be a tough guy, immediately call the police, only to have the police show up and start making fun of him on his own property. Like, it's beautiful. That's fucking beautiful. He's as big a loser in real life as he is on the internet. That's incredible. That's crazy, and exactly what that kind of guy deserves. So yeah, just wanted to talk about this briefly. That's about it. Wishing you the best of luck here, Chris Hansen. Godspeed. See ya. You know that classic trope you'll see occasionally in TV shows where they have the character go to a therapist, the therapist will hold up ink blots and say, how does this make you feel? Well, I'm going to do that with you right now. Let's do this exercise together. I'm going to show you a picture, and I don't even need to ask how it makes you feel. I know exactly how this picture makes you feel. Disgusted. That right there, friends, is a picture of Jack No Sack Doherty. He's like this embarrassing cringe SCP that elicits a fight or flight response from everyone that looks at him, but no one ever chooses flight, they always choose fight, because everybody hates this guy and wants to fight him. I've made fun of him plenty of times, everybody has. Mr. Rogers would bully Jack Doherty. He is just biologically engineered to be unlikable. From the decisions he makes, to the things that he does, to the way that he behaves, like everything about him is just yucky and makes people want to like lash out at him. Like it's actually impressive just how hard it is to find anything good about Jack Doherty. So I've covered him even recently where he crashed his McLaren and his friend was bleeding. He's like, oh man, like, can you start filming me? Oh, my McLaren. It's that guy. And I covered him previously when he would go around harassing people and then hiding behind his bodyguards when they tried to fight him for it. He is just a menace. And he's done plenty of other things too that I haven't bothered insulting him for, but I just can't resist the urge to insult him today as well, because now he's become so desperate after getting banned everywhere for all of the terrible shit that he does, that he's resorted to pump and dump crypto scamming the last remaining splinter of his audience. Any news on Jack Dorkey? Yeah, he just did a rug pull today. Or last night. He got in on that pump.fun rug pull. He couldn't resist the forbidden fruit. It was, I think he deleted a lot of it. Oh, let me pull it up. He's streaming on a super obscure site called Party 2. I just heard about Party. The reason I heard about it is because it apparently just launched recently and it's already filled with porn. I don't know if he streamed this. I don't think he streamed this on Party. I think this was on just straight up Twitter. Yeah.
Where's Party? It's already there. It's already on. And press. Alright, you know. Going about to buy. Let's see. Anyone that gets it right, guys, I'm gonna be sending your soul to you guys. If you guys want some soul, I'm gonna be sending some soul to y'all.
It's crazy how I can click anywhere in this 23 minute stream, holy. And I thought I barely streamed. Oh my. But it's crazy how I can click anywhere in this 23-minute stream and just hit a place where he is scamming. Just a random spot. Yeah, here it is. He eventually buys McLaren. Because of his McLaren crash, he's leaning into it. So he keeps talking about buying the McLaren coin on Pump Fun. All that Solana. Oh boy. And eventually just in stream without saying anything. It doesn't even look like he made much money from the rug either. Like, if you just look at the graph, it doesn't seem like he even made off with it, like, any money. Was it that initial pump and dump? That's what I couldn't tell. I think so. Like, it must have been. I'm pretty sure his friends made it in the background, so he was stalling for time, which is what the Reddit speculates as well. But it just doesn't seem like he even made much from it. He's just that desperate. And also, very few people even bothered playing ball with it, but everyone who did deserve to get scammed. If you're putting money into a Jack Dorkey fucking meme coin on pump.fun, you just shouldn't have access to your money. You need a guardian. You need someone that handles it for you and shuts down your bad ideas. If I needed money to pay bills, would it be okay to pump and dump, or is it illegal? That's the craziest. I don't know if you're memeing or not, but the craziest thing is the TikTok fucking broccoli hair 9-year-olds, like, all of them are getting fed pump and dumps. And a lot of them think that that's like a totally normal thing to do and not bad. It's not regulated, but it's not legal. It is still illegal. It's fraudulent. It's scamming. It is still illegal, but no one's going to get punished for it. But since it's not regulated, you're not going to see Jack Dorkey get taken away in handcuffs. It's fucked because kids thinking it's a way of life. They should be worried about toys. Yeah, like the 13-year-old that rugged 3 times in a day for 50 grand. Oh, God. It's sad. It's actually sad. I'm sure he's going to do more of these, too. I just have a hunch he's going to keep doing this, because it is like an infinite money glitch right now. It seems like everyone who makes a pump.fun coin is getting tons of suckers to immediately buy in, hoping that they're there early enough for when it graduates and they make like a fat bag off it. But it's just not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. You have better odds in the lottery. But I know there are a lot of people who have already made tons of money from it. Just like there's people that have made tons of money from the lottery. It's just not going to be you. Pump and dumping crypto is a moral good because it scams crypto bros. It's your civic duty and also funny. Wow. Checkmate, actually. I was going to try and like have an argument against you, but you're right. The only people on pump.fun are actually the people who deserve to get scammed. You're cooking. Wait a minute. You just fucking flambéed that. There's mathematically better odds at beating a pump and dump than winning lotto casinos. I think you do have like slightly higher odds, but you have to also calculate that everyone on pump.fun is scamming. Like they are rug pulls. So you are not in on when that's coming. So you still have to get absurdly lucky, which is why it's still like statistically very unlikely that anyone that's outside of the scammer's ring makes money off of the pump.fun rugs. Why can't they just keep the coin going and take a bit out here and there instead of rug pulling? I feel like it's long-term more profitable. Scamming seems so dumb. That was so innocent. That was like a kid asking, why do people do bad things? The reason you rug it is because there is no long-term with a pump.fun shitcoin. It is designed to be rugged. They don't have a use. It's there to pump and then take your money out so people are left holding the bag. You can't take little bits and pieces out because then you risk not being the benefactor. It is actually, from a design perspective, there to fail, and you calculate the fail. It's so degenerate. Is Jack gonna get jumped soon? I doubt it, man. Anyone that bought into the pump.fun probably had their parents' permission to do it. If they wanted to jump Jack, they'd have to talk to their dad to have him drive over there. Otherwise, they have to roll up on the green machine. They claim Pump prevents rugs by making sure all created tokens are safe. Each coin on Pump is a fair launch with no pre-sale and no Yeah, I saw. That's just to cover their own ass legally. Pump.fun is making so much money, they're going to be in the crosshairs of, like, regulators or investigators or something down the line. So they're just doing all they can to, like, legally cover themselves, but the site is literally made for rug pulls. That's the whole point. It's going to give birth to a whole new generation of highly skilled and experienced scammers. Nope. No, it is not. Like that 13-year-old with the huge rug pull the other day for Quant. He didn't do anything like technically impressive. On the site, on pump.fun, I don't want to pull up the site. The site is so fucking degenerate. But on the site, there's something that just says start coin. You click start coin and you can just make your shit token. He didn't do anything besides just click make coin using whatever fucking protocol is native there. I have no idea. Launched it and then just streamed, and then people started putting money into it, and he said, thanks for the 20 bandos, left, and then came back with, I'm sorry, thanks for the 10 bandos, left, then came back for Lucy, another 10 bandos, idiots, and then left. The experience he gained is that people are fucking idiots. That was the experience he gained from it. He's not highly skilled. Crazy to think Quant Kid probably made 50K from scamming and probably still believes in Santa. Yeah, he's gonna try and buy one of the reindeer from Santa's sleigh. Not satisfied with just one pump and dump on his audience, Jack Dorkey did it again. Like King Neptune, he said, that was so good I want to try it a second time. So he apparently did another stream on Twitter where he rugged another coin. I can't find that broadcast, so I only have this screenshot to go off of, but you can still see the tweets that he was posting about it before going live. So he clearly was doing a meme coin stream, then deleted some of the tweets, and in the comment section you can see people being very upset that he rugged them again. The shitcoin this time around for Jack was hated. The lore being people hate Jack for good reason. So he immediately rugged it as soon as he could, speedrunning financial crimes with a goofy smile on his face that not even his mother could love. And now, as an act of revenge, the people that got rugged are now driving the price of hated up really high. Same play that we saw from the playbook when that 13-year-old rugged people with Quant, and then after he was out, they drove the market cap through the goddamn roof. They fucking blasted that Insano style in order for the kid to feel bad because he made 30K when he could have made $1 million if he held. Though he would have never made $1 million because if he didn't rug them, it would have never had that market cap because people wouldn't have done that. It's a secondary scam. So what happened is people got rugged, then they start putting in more and more money to give the appearance like, hey, we need to get revenge, so we're going to drive this up. So then they drive it up in order to get some people to buy in, so that way the people that got rugged can get the fuck out without taking as much of a loss on it. So that's what they're trying again here with Jack Dorkey's meme coin. I can't believe people bought into his first shit coin with McLaren, let alone the second time. This is the exact same thing that just happened on the same site with the exact same formula here a couple days ago with Quant, and people are still falling victim to it. And Jack is going to keep doing this. Jack is probably going to do this every single day, and unfortunately, I think it's going to work every single time because for some reason, people keep thinking that they are the galaxy brain. They are the one who knocks. Yeah, it's a rug pull. We know Jack's going to rug it, but I'm going to be there when he does to capitalize off all the idiots, all the sheep that don't see between the lines like I do. Wake the fuck up, moron. Everybody knows that. Everyone's doing that same thing, which is why you keep getting rugged. That's the whole purpose of this. Like, it's going to keep happening. The only person that wins, well, two people, Jack and Pump.Fun. Pump.Fun's making 20 million plus a month off of this degeneracy. And Jack is able to just keep farming imbeciles, absolute buffoons. It actually blows my mind how willing people are to just get scammed, blatantly scammed, laughed at in their face, and keep coming back for more. It's nuts. So I expect Jack to be doing this every day until the fucking authorities show up and take him away in handcuffs, if that day ever comes. He is literally streaming himself committing financial crimes. But because it's in the crypto sector, it's not something they actively pursue all that hard. But maybe they will at some point, and he'll face the piper then. Anyway, though, that's really about it. See ya.